Good morning, everybody, and thank you for braving the weather. I stayed here last night, so I didn't have much of a commute, but I believe some of you had to go through wind and rain and everything else to get here. So thank you for being here. As Gordon says, this is our 11th year, and we're still going strong, and that's down to you. But again, just to reiterate, this would not happen without our sponsors. IRISSCERT is a not-for-profit organisation. We get no funding to provide a service 24/7, 365 days a year to the internet community here in Ireland, so we can make the internet much safer for businesses and individuals in this country, and to be quite frank, also internationally as well, because we work with other certs around the world. So our sponsors are what keep us alive for the rest of the year. So please do visit them, spend some time at their stands, and show your appreciation to them, because without them we would have to shut the doors and the service would stop. That's basically how it is. So anyway, as Gordon said, traditionally I give you a look back as what's happened in the past number of years, and as always, one of the references I give is the Verizon Data Breach Investigations Report. Verizon, as you may know, is an international US-based company who provide hosting, telecommunications and consulting. They have been working with organizations all around the world for the past 7 or 8 years. Alex Hutton, one of the speakers today, he's one of the founders of the DBIR. They take data from organizations such as the FBI, US Secret Service, IRISSCERT. We provide all information about the incidents we are aware of, and many other certs and other companies around the world do the same stuff. And Verizon analyzes and give a digestible, easy to read, non-vendor biased report on what the landscape is in cybersecurity. And some of the key takeaways we can see from 2019 is 69% of all breaches were by outsiders. Which, if you flip that around, that means if you're responsible for cybersecurity, nearly 1/3 of your breaches come from inside your organization. So one thing we need to look at, a lot of stuff we always talk about with cybersecurity is looking at the external threat, but we've got the internal threat to worry about as well. 71% of attacks are financially motivated. Now, many people when I talk about that go, well, we don't have to worry about that. We don't have credit card data, or we don't have a lot of financial data on our system, so we don't need to worry about people hacking into us. But if you are familiar with the underground, the underground sites that the criminals go to online, each and every one of us, our data is being sold. So your information, your personal data, your name, your address, your mother's maiden name, your favorite color, your first pet dog's name, where you went to school, your first car, all the information is on average being sold between $5 to $15 per person. So information has a value. That's why criminals are breaking into systems, and that's where they're going from. From an Irish point of view, I had a quick review of all the incidents reported to us. So we get notifications from certs around the world. We get notifications from companies like an organization like Shadow Server, Arbor Networks, Netcraft, other places that come to us, and with their sensors they identify compromised systems in Ireland. 43%, roughly 43,000 in the past 10 months. This is up until the beginning of November. From January 1st until today, about 43,000, because I've done these stats yesterday. Majority of them are inbound DDoS attacks, so distributed denial of service attacks against websites hosted here in Ireland. 5,800, so nearly 6,000 websites in Ireland have been compromised by criminals to host phishing websites to steal the personal data of people elsewhere, be they customers of banks or anything else. There were 624 attacks identified as coming from the Irish IP space against other systems around the world. And then we had 30 sites that were hacked to host malicious software. So if you visit those websites and your system wasn't patched or wasn't up to date, you could have been infected with malicious software hosted by those websites. So that's what's happening in the Irish space. This is apart from what you read in the newspapers and everything else. This is, on a regular basis. But what we're also seeing is, and we see this in, my other hat is I'm CEO of BH Consulting, and we provide instant response services for our clients. This is what we're seeing in the industry. Don't worry about advanced persistent threats or zero-day attacks. This is what you have to worry about. The majority of breaches in Ireland are either hijacked cloud-based accounts. So if you're using Office 365, if you're using Amazon Web Services, using Gmail for your company business, if you are relying on your users to protect your corporate system, which is your email system, with just their password, you run a high risk of their account being compromised and hijacked. We see a lot of business email compromise and CEO fraud, where invoices are being redirected by criminals to compromise, and that's often used in combination with those hijacked accounts. So you would have a company's email account hijacked, and then invoices being sent or emails being sent from a company to their suppliers or to their customers, asking them to change any payments to a new bank account. And because it comes from a recognized and trusted email address, hence you get the hijacked account as well. And then ransomware attacks are the biggest one there. But with all this, if you look at the Verizon data breach investigation report, and when we follow up on some of the breaches we deal with in IRISSCERT and everything else, this slide has been in every presentation I've given at IRISSCERT for the past 11 years. It's the same stuff. And yes, I still have Windows XP, and I'll have Windows XP next year, and I'll probably have Windows XP in 10 years' time, because systems are still going to be running. But it's poor passwords. So if you've got hosted cloud systems, get multi-factor authentication turned on, especially for privileged accounts and high-value accounts that people work in finance or accounts or whatever else. Missing patches, system have been updated, vulnerabilities, out of date. So all those websites we talked about that had hosting phishing pages or hosting malicious script are all down to using old WordPress installs or Joomla or stuff that has not been patched. So make sure your systems are patched. Out of date antivirus software and lack of monitoring. And again, something I keep saying is that, we keep looking at innovation and all the new things that are happening in cybersecurity, but if you keep making the same mistakes, we're crazy. We're doing the same stuff over and over again. But kind of maybe looking to the future, where do I see, or where do we see from the CERT, where the main attacks are going to happen and where they're going to come from? It's still the same stuff. It's still going to be poor passwords. It's still going to be hijacked accounts, patches, etc. And that's backed up by the likes of Europol's Internet Organised Crime Threat Assessment, or IOCTA. That's quite hard to pronounce, actually. IOCTA report. They produce this every year. So Europol, the Cybercrime Centre, works with all the different vendors and certs and financial services and telcos to get a feel what the trends are in cybersecurity. So again, this is vendor neutral. It's coming from Europol, so they've no axe to grind. They're not trying to sell you a shiny box or something to go with the report. And you can see one of the comments there is, the major threats we face today, such as ransomware or business email compromise, have been around for years. While we may see something quite novel, it's more likely that cyber criminals will continue refining attacks that have been shown to work. Criminals by their nature, and it kind of ties into Graham's talk later on, are lazy. That's why they're criminals. They will take the easy way out. They will look to get money quite easily, and they can do it quickly and easily. That's how they're going to do it. If a scam works or techniques work, they're going to use it over and over again. The World Economic Forum this year has identified that cybersecurity is one of the top three of the 10 risks most likely to happen to the global economy. Cybersecurity is number 3. The impact it's going to have is cybersecurity is down there at the 6th largest impact that it could have on the global economy when we have major attacks. So this stuff is no longer us geeks worrying about it in the IT department or whatever else. This is a threat to not just our computer systems, but to businesses, to society, and indeed to democracy as well. But criminals are going to follow the money. If you want to see where the trends are going to happen, you just see where the money is going. So we're still going to see attacks like cryptojacking, and some of those malicious websites that were hijacked by criminals to insert scripts and code on the website so that when you visit it, it was inserting code into your browser, so you would mine cryptocurrency on behalf of the criminals. One of the organizations that got hit last year in 2018 was the Information Commission's Office in the UK. So, it can happen to them, it can happen to anybody. We're still going to see CEO fraud. On Garda Síochána, their cybercrime unit, they would probably say this is one of the top threats and issues they have to deal with on a regular basis. Ransomware is still going to be a big issue, but ransomware is going to mature. It's going to change. It's going to become automated, so criminals are going to look at ways to make ransomware vulnerable. We've already seen that with NotPetya and with WannaCry, but we're probably going to see that happen a lot more. Also, it's going to be more targeted, and criminals will look to either ransom your data and look for you to pay for you to get your data back, or, depending on your organization, they're going to ask you for ransom not to release your data online. So that's going to be a big change. Criminals are going to realize your information has value. It's valuable to you. It's going to be valuable to somebody else. So what would you pay for us not to put your information on the internet, as opposed to what will you pay to get your information back? Supply chain attacks. Again, if you look at NotPetya, that came through the MEDOC software, the accounting software that was used very much in Eastern Europe and the Baltic States, which was a genuine accounting piece of software used in many companies. The MEDOC software company was compromised. Those behind the attack, who the US and the UK governments have identified was the Russian government, inserted malicious software, the NotPetya malware, into an update. So everybody using the MEDOC accounting software got their patch update to say, you need a new patch. Oh, is it from a trusted source? Yes, we accept the patch. We have one client who missed getting hit by NotPetya merely because their IT manager was on a Ryanair flight from the Ukraine to London to head off on a bachelor party. And because he was in the flight, he couldn't authorize the update to the MEDOC software. But by the time he arrived, he was told, don't authorize this change. So, going for a stag party should not be your instant response strategy for, mind you, it can help. We're going to see industrial control systems, because we're seeing more and more of industrial control systems being put online and connected to the internet, because it makes business easier. And we can say, as cybersecurity professionals, oh no, we need to air gap that, and we can't do that. But the business is going to go, well, no, we need to do business. So get it done and make it secure. If we don't make it secure, we're going to see more ICS systems get compromised. IoT devices, going to happen. We've seen headlines about companies being compromised by their IoT smart light bulbs being compromised, and then using it as a stepping stone into the Wi-Fi network for the company, and from there then back into the corporate systems. So all these devices we're connecting onto our networks or onto our business, be they internet cameras, be they smartphones, be they smart cameras, light bulbs, or whatever else. They pose a risk, and we need to manage them and keep them secure. There is an increasing amount of cloud attacks going to happen, and this is not just going to be hijacking people's credentials. So again, if you're using any cloud services, please look at putting multi-factor authentication in place to secure them better. But we are seeing attacks against hosted environments, and we have seen that happen in the US. For example, about a month ago, there was a cloud-based doctors' software. So for many surgeons in the US, they were using this cloud-based software. They got hit by ransomware, and every doctor's surgery that was using that could not use the system. So we're seeing attacks against the cloud services themselves, and that's going to increase. And as we get better at securing our systems, humans are going to get targeted. So phishing emails, social engineering are going to happen. And we've got two good speakers later on today talking about how to manage that threat. And then criminals, just like ourselves, are using artificial intelligence with machine learning, with next generation, cloud-based, blockchain, all the buzzwords you want. They're going to use the same technology we're using. So they're using artificial intelligence to look at how they're going to compromise our systems, and that's going to happen. So in closing, how can you as professionals look to defend your companies and defend your systems? Well, the first thing is identify what you're trying to protect. If you don't know what you're trying to protect, then you can't protect it. So identify what it is, put some value on it, and the higher the value of the resources, you look at putting them. So do a risk assessment. What are the risks against those assets? How do we protect those assets? Look at putting policies in place. I know looking around, the minute I say policies, I can see, oh no, not writing policies. But policies set an agenda. They tell the business what we need to do, and they tell people how we need to organise. So it's very important. If you were to say to me, Brian, what money should I spend in investment in cybersecurity in the next 12 months? This is where I would say put most of your money. In security awareness training, making sure people are aware and understand the risk of why you have controls in place and how they should behave. But I'd also say you need to monitor and respond. Look at what you're monitoring. If you read the Verizon Data Breach Investigation Report, they say on average it takes 6 to 8 weeks for companies to detect they've had a breach, which is about 6 to 8 weeks after the criminals have been and gone and taken the data they need. So monitor what you have and respond to it. And yes, we should be using artificial intelligence too to ensure that we can provide and identify trends and how we're going to detect our systems. And then I also say we should be better at information sharing. We don't share, in our industry, we do not share information. It's still kind of seen as a badge of shame or whatever that we've had a breach. But having a security breach is part of business. It is normal. It will happen. It's how you deal with it and how you respond to it is how you're going to be measured and how you're going to be judged, not that you had a breach. So I'd encourage you to use existing frameworks to look at putting robust security in place, such as using ISO 27001 or the NIST cybersecurity framework, or even the Centre for Internet Security. They have their security controls. Or also look at, from our own National Cyber Security Centre, run by the Department of Communications, they actually have a very good white paper, 12 Steps to Cybersecurity. And it's free. Download it. Look at it. Follow the steps in it. It will help you put a good program in place. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much. Hope you really enjoyed the day. Today is about you. The speakers are here to help give you guides on what you should need to do, but you guys are the ones out there defending companies and protecting data. You're the ones that at an event like this, sharing and networking can help. And don't be afraid to share with the CERT if you have any instance, because we can reach out internationally to CERTs elsewhere to shut down malicious websites attacking you or malicious actors attacking you. That's how the CERT community works. So please do enjoy the day, and thank you very much.